Alright YouTube, it's been brought to my attention by one of my viewers that I haven't really went over the race car and discussed how well it's held up over the years racing. So I figured I'd show you the old chassis, Elsa number 1, and then the new chassis, Elsa number 2, talk about things how robust the 350Z is as a race car, discuss a couple things that I have went through, and why you should get a 350Z for a race car. If you like my videos, subscribe to my channel. I'm going to keep on posting videos about cars, race cars, so let's get right into it. Alright guys, so here's the old chassis, Elsa number 1, that had gotten totaled in, I believe it was September of 2016. So what happened on track was I pinched down probably a little too much on the guy that was in position number 3. We were coming through the corner and he hit the rear of my car back here, which started pushing me and sliding me sideways. And when I was sliding sideways, he came up and drove over the top of the front of the car here, and I had full opposite lock. So when all that pressure got pushed onto the front tires, it shot me back across track, and I got broadsided on the other side of the car. I rebuilt the new chassis in about 2.5 weeks for the race in October. So I got broadsided right here, T-boned, whatever you want to call it, and it jacked up the chassis pretty bad. Twisted the whole entire frame. It actually broke the cage in a couple spots. I don't know if you can see it right here. But it pushed the whole cage over about 2 inches and twisted the chassis to where the car was completely unusable. But luckily it hit so centered in the car that I was able to reuse the entire front and rear subframes, which really helped in the process of rebuilding the car so quickly. So basically all I had to do is strip out the new chassis and cage it, and then just drop the rear subframe and the front subframe and put it in the new chassis. So there's the old one. Now we can go take a look at the new one. Alright, so here's Elsa number 2, the new chassis that I stripped and caged and built in about 2.5 weeks time, 3 weeks time. As you can see, she has a donut right here on the side, on the passenger side. This one was my fault. In the same incident, it also banged up the rear of the car, but then in the same race, I got hit on the rear of the car as well by another car, and it ended up taking me out of the race, so that sucked pretty bad. Here we are to discuss how well the car's holding up, and it looks as though I have sprung an oil leak all of a sudden. Hopefully that's just a loose oil hose going to the oil coolers. I have dual oil coolers mounted up front, but that does not look good. And that's typical for a race car. You know, you get it back in the shop, you leave it sitting, then you find out everything you need to fix before the next race. So here's my door. Passenger door doesn't even open. It doesn't like to close unless if I lift it and lean into it. But body wise, that's really about it. And this car, you know, it's going on 3 years of use, so it's doing pretty good. So let's discuss a couple of things that I've went through over the years racing a 350Z. I have went through 3 different engines. They really like to blow the piston right out the bottom of the oil pan. Doesn't like to run very well after that. So the motors actually do hold up pretty good, but when they go, they go. So I've went through 3 engines. I've went through 2 transmissions. I did the updated CD009 transmission, and ever since I've done that, it's held up for a couple of years. The rear diff has been excellent. I've got the Nismo Pro Diff, and the Nismo Pro Diff is an awesome differential. I would recommend it to anybody. I've had it since about mid-2015, and it has held in there quite substantially. Tons of abuse. I have went through a ring and pinion, and I just had to get another pumpkin with a ring and pinion in it, swap my diff to it, and ever since I did that, it's held in for another couple of years. The suspension is KW Club Sport. It's held up really well. I'm sure that I'm probably due for a new suspension. It's been in the car since 2014. I didn't start racing till the 2015 season, but I earned my license in 2014. So the original car was built then with this suspension, and it really seems as though it's probably starting to go. Windshields. I go through a couple windshields this season. I don't know that it's easy to tell, but they just get completely jacked up, especially when you're racing wheel to wheel. There's rocks on the track and you're trying to follow. It just gets everything shot up and really becomes difficult to see through the windshield, but you get used to that as well. All in all, the 350Z is honestly just a really good, affordable racing platform, and we're pretty quick on track too. Good track times, a lot of fun. I've had to rebuild my Brembo calipers a couple times, go through brakes, brake pads. I run the Pagid, or Pagid, however you want to say it. I run Stop Tech rotors. And you end up replacing rotors about once, every half season. Brake pads a little bit more regularly than that. The rear pads last a little bit longer. Wheels and tires. I've got 3 sets of wheels and tires, actually 4 with the rain set. And we end up bending wheels quite a bit. The RPF ones are an awesome wheel. It'll bend the barrel, but it doesn't end up distorting the actual wheel itself. So it'll bend the barrel. But the nice thing is we can just go get the barrels bent back. So we go through quite a bit of wheels. Tires, we end up going through quite a bit of tires. I probably go through six sets of race tires through the season of about 7 or 8 race weekends. So quite a bit there too. If you're going to be racing, it's a good idea to have spare parts. I've bought a couple total chassis over the years and just snagged spare parts off of them for motors, transmissions, different things like that, but also control arms and everything. So I've got subframes, I've got control arms, I've got drive shafts, tons of tubes, so tubing that you end up needing. You don't even realize it, but you save it, and next thing you know, you need it. Wheel bearings, calipers, just down pipes, tons of different stuff that you end up needing. I've even got chassis harnesses and stuff like that. So. Racing, it gets pretty expensive. You end up breaking quite a few things. But overall, the cars themselves seem to hold up pretty good. The Nissan 350Z is actually a super easy car to work on. So it's actually been a really good platform for racing, especially for spec class racing and affordable type of racing. I have went through another exhaust. I went through a titanium exhaust by Tomei, which was a pretty cool exhaust, but the stainless steel stuff holds up a lot better, and that's what I would recommend to anybody that's going to go into racing. Is just, it might be a little bit heavier to go stainless steel, but it sure holds up a lot better. If you like racing or you want to get into racing, check out NASA, the National Auto Sports Association. There's probably a local chapter somewhere near you. Out here we have Utah Motorsports Campus, so we have NASA Utah. But they're pretty much all over, and it's an awesome little avenue to go to try and earn your race license and go racing local guys and learning from everybody out in your area. The National Auto Sports Association, I don't know how long it's been around, but they've been around a while, and they do an excellent job of bringing up young drivers that don't have the budget to just go pay 10 grand to go to a racing school and get a license. So it was an awesome direction. And you benefit from everybody's expertise. Luckily out here we have a lot of these Spec Z cars, so we're all able to help each other, learn and progress. So it's a good idea to find out what's in your area. But the Z is a great car for ST4 as well if you don't have Spec Z cars. Or if you've got a group of guys that are looking and trying to figure out what class to get into, Spec Z is an awesome class. It is a little bit more expensive than Miata, but it's a pretty quick car and it's a lot of fun. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and let me know what else you think I should make a video of. Take care.